I'm Keanu Reeves, and today I'm going to be talking about Unutella, released in 2008 or 2009, according to Spotify. I don't know. By Japanese experimental math slash noise slash experimental rock group Nuito. Um, it's definitely one of the greatest albums I've heard in my entire life. Really, it's got this insane, chaotic feel and like spastic nature, unlike anything I had ever heard in my life up until that point. You know, it's and something to praise as well is the album cover, and I feel like the art accurately represents the overall nature of the album. It's great. I really really like it. Unlike a lot of albums from today, like say like Taylor Swift's Redemption. God, that is a horrible album cover. But without further ado, let's get to the review. The album starts out with the song Interjection. Uh, it's misspelled, but I mean, what can you do? It's Japanese, and it was probably intentional. They're smart. Um, you know, but they're not really songs because from start to finish, even though it's like slightly over half an hour, the album really, I mean, it's cohesive and like every song just leads into the next smoothly. Anyway, the song starts out with some static and random like drums and guitars, and for me as a guitarist, this album really captured my attention with the wonderful amount of just musicianship. I should probably mention this is also an instrumental album, so if you don't like instrumental music, probably won't like this. Anyway, let me play some of it for you. Actually, here it goes. Just real random, Kind of reminds me of Terra Mello's Untitled Number 4. That was pretty good as well. Not as good as this one though. And so that's basically the gist of it, and it leads into probably their most well-known song, Neco Magin Verses, which if I didn't know what Neco meant, which means cat, I wouldn't know. It sounds like a Dragon Ball fight or something, Anyway, this is the perfect example of what this album is. It's just so... It really sounds random, and the melodies just come and go, and the time signatures are constantly changing. That when you first listen to the song, your mind will be blown. Either that, or you'll be like me, and you'll be like, what the hell is this? And exit out from that, and go back to listening to, good music. Like Rick James. But this song is really exceptional. Just the way you can't follow unless you listen to this album enough times to memorize it, then you wouldn't know what's coming next. And sadly, I've now memorized it, so it's not very fun. It's gone to me. It's a great part. And that's basically the song. It's insane. It gets even better as it goes on, I feel like. But once again, if you this type of music, it took me so long to get into it. Really, it took me, I want to say, maybe a month and a half of just coming back to it and seeing how much I could digest at one time. That's really what it took for me to listen to this entire album. But then this song ends, Neco Magin verses. It ends in like the craziest noise section, you know, of like here. But it leads right into the next song. That's what I mean. Like there's no breaking of songs. And that's probably my favorite song, and that one is Tongpo. This song, you know, it's got some awesome melodies, and the bass work, like the harmonics you hear at the beginning, is bass. And for me, for the longest time, I always thought that was the guitar. But you know that I love that song. It's much more prominent. The bass is a lot more laid back. I wouldn't say it is relaxing, but it's a lot. It's just a lot to digest. It's so wonderful, and you know, I think the length does it justice. You know, it's almost 8 minutes long, so you know, there's still part of it. It's just got great. And this bass line at the end, or near the end, you know, I kind of overdid it there, but that song, I mean, specifically that part is to me the highlight of the album, and there's so many highlights in this album. And then it goes into another one of these, kind of like in the vein of the Neco Magin verses. It's called Lono Reke Protocol. Again, I'm not Japanese. Sorry if I'm messing up these names. But it's a little bit more cohesive than Neco Magin verses, because Neco Magin verses is really, like, truly the most spastic song on this album. It just changes out of nowhere. But you know, it has one of my favorite, like, bass tapping parts in the entire, like, on the entire album, and it's around like this. Here, let's see if I can find it. Oh, here it goes. It's around 4 minutes in. But I mean, the musicianship here is really off the wall for, like, both the drums, especially. Oh my god, the guitar work. You think about it. Yeah, I know it's a studio cover. You know, it's a studio album. You know, so where you can add more pieces to it. But if you watch some of their live albums, you see the guitarist has so many pedals and effects in which he plays. You know, some of these songs. It's insane how he does it. The bass player as well, phenomenal. And that's a pretty good song as well. So, and then it then goes into the next song, which I had to actually search the pronunciation of the song, because it's completely in Japanese. characters, and it's called Ke Eraruru Sekai, and that means the world that disappeared. At least according to Google Translate, it does. It's blasphemy. I'm sorry. Sorry. Apologies to my college professors, but this song is a lot more groovy, and it's got a really a rather consistent drum line, something that we haven't heard much of for like in the beginning of songs for the first couple minutes, until in something that we've gotten used to at this point, it just changes, not completely random, but into a completely new section, but still under the same song title. And there's also like a little riff here at like 327 that reminds me of the speed of sound in seawater. Let's see if I can find it. That part. Stuff like that. Again, it's another one of these songs that is probably on the weaker side of the track listing. It's still a really good song, but at this point, it's starting to become a little bit more of the same. And not to have not many criticisms, but this is one of them, that a lot of the songs just end up sounding, they're different at first, but then they start sounding kind of the same. But they're still excellent songs, and then the last like few minutes, like last three of them, just go into like noise, which it's not bad. It's still some melodic elements as well, but for me, I'm a fan more of the math rock than I would be of noise. I'm not really that well versed in noise. And then this goes into Hinemos, and this song is actually a breath of fresh air, even if it is the least inventive song on this album. And what I mean by that is that the main melody is present throughout the entire song, even though it's like 2 minutes. But and coming from the songs that like have changed out of nowhere and just have random bits and pieces, it really is a breath of fresh air, because it's just constant. To me, this song is the most chilled out and relaxed song that they have on this album. It's just great. It's real constant. Yeah, it's, even a minute in, you can still hear the main melody. Almost 2 minutes in, same thing. And I feel like it's a good, just changing point. And then we get to the last song, which is also a Japanese character. Apparently, again, Google Translate. Sorry, Dr. Russ. It's just Yi is what it translates to. And so this is the closing track. And by this time, it kind of gets a little bit, like, the song just, for me, it was a little bit of a letdown, because I wanted a little bit different, just part. But, you got to imagine how hard to write this stuff must be. It's still a really good song. And my favorite part was, like, an Asian-sounding breakdown. It sounds racist. I know, I'm sorry. But it's not intended to, but that's what it sounds like. To me, it sounds like some Asian music, but in rock form. And it's really, really cool. It's like at like the minute 240 or something. Let's find it. There we go. Right there. But with parts like these that come out, like you really can forgive like the little shortcomings of the album, and it's just great. The last song, Ye, is really good, although not the best and a little bit repetitive. And not in the sense that it's the same melodies, but in the sense that it's the same style and it's kind of overstayed its welcome again. But to conclude, this was a fantastic album. Really, like to me, this is as close to 5/5 as you could ever get. You know, but I have weird taste in music. As you can see, because I'm reviewing this. Anyway, if you're a fan of any of these types of genres, be it experimental, noise, math rock, I know you'll probably enjoy it, but it will take multiple listens. If you're not well versed in the in this type of music, it will take a lot of listening to. Like it took me, like I said, a month and a half to really open my ears up and like, wow, this is great. It's not just random noodling. It is written to be a specific way. But even if you don't like this type of music and you're like into Taylor Swift, but you want to listen to something completely different to what you've ever listened to before, this album is for you. Again, it's been Keanu Reeves, and I hope you enjoyed this review.